Are you joking?
I'm in for 6, I just don't know how.
Oh, do you have a stand we can borrow?
Dude.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have a stand. So if y'all use one, we'll use that one. Or a chair.
This is Ian's. Yeah, that's nice. Oh.
The stand just broke.
Yeah.
Is this a common thing? Okay.
Yeah, it happens every day.
Try to be online and you can sell stuff.
Dude, what are you gonna say to Ian?
He said it was broken already. So.
Alright. I don't know if I trust.
Let's use the chair.
Okay. Alright.
Work.
Okay, one AC was sent a little while ago. Is anybody not good?
Did you put me on it?
Yeah. Probably in your spam.
Let me check my spam. I don't have it either. I'll check your
Spam.
It's in my
Spam. We go to spam.
It is in my spam, yeah. Report not spam. Report not spam. I don't know. Alright.
Okay. Ishan, you guys good? I finished one is degress creating regress honestly but more so 16 using the impossibility decoupling with available time scales success degress source 21 with 1 to be impacting people uncontrollable estrogen by the loss non-present humans primary ecosystem science screen growth machine as extraction speed quickly resomas prediction direction occurring reduction of growth industry to adjust all drivers of extinction creating sort of stuff as national idea and come with all industry that are impossibility growth trajectory even innovation substitution and expected by our compressing creating efficient renewable energy and energy use regardless of efficiency emissions increase renewables with someone use displace fossil fuel energy expansion increase supply of demand renewables lower your energy is ineffective risky number of crime 3 times equal by energy inject particles risk unknown impacts ozone loss pollution multi use life no growth and process degrowth necessary to protect future generations no global housing decoupling efficiency gains are trying to increase the volume emission use to correlate with growth over offshoring there's no decoupling with efficiency renewable energy when trying to provide even optimization measures push back carbon budget reducing with the slightly increase possible more possible reduction without growth the impact is converging catastrophes that cause extinction oxygen disease and disasters make COVID-19 ocean warming south with the multiple mortality heat out process with anti-strange foods problems monocle gas much growth being better across increase volcanic activity surrounding things are causing body fossil calories are productive lightning hardy sources settle things to fast reduce central points multiple carbon levels reduce protein minerals calcium iron and depressed five and heat that always nuclear war no 19 nuclear change not zone of positive shaky size zone water determine how many bacteria be human nation denied there's 2004 since humans recover war nuclear humans from climate change nuclear war and global warming is a growth structured fabric of the economy causes inevitable unpredictable financial shocks / 16 economies are limits supposed to physics the financial crisis and for progress having to make change in millisecond cause factors no diet full cost real crash competing systems on energy new digital constantly blockchain is placing energy complexity financial workers has grown huge these stranded assets ensure collapse with P19 client process solar will be stranded assets to live lead to speed because demand as well as better 100 industries 100 trillion ton public relation history collapses on 23 carbon fall from equals man domestic crisis happens within a year launch 1026 loses policies after hardly with easy money stuff that leads involves reckless lending low interest rate fed reason 525.0 assets with post war draining 95 billion euro leads to large issues big failures in the waiting the crisis markets for over 8% GDP deficit wave of default 500 billion loan to the Fed inviting full blown crisis before next year climate change Israel Hamas war rising poverty developing nations interest rates and international complacency ensure that collapses now and global 1015 Yom Kippur Russian imperial inflation unemployment the warning signs are clearly out and cleaning hope to activity doesn't collapse in the way that sharpest rises rates in decades it seems too significant investment indicative of complacency there's no sense of urgency to be more between the worst dangerous sign wars in decades wars over reverse inflation and high rates and solving the financial markets even said even before the war wars the rates were leading to quality low investment Ukraine shows no sanity pandemic leads to first increase of poverty the world needs the countries to cooperate the low 50 countries and just 90 developed net zero policies and wildly optimistic there's low evidence the practice will provide the subtle cars is calling for massive increases for countries before it's too late. This tension needs to be diffused. And vastly, the war could be on the brink of something nasty and inescapable. Chinese economic collapse, rest growth globally. 1923, China was building more economy that reached the limits of crazy and rest of the stability solution. Capital just slowing investment of local over $8 trillion debt that stability of the entire economy. Debt has changed GDP decline. Local domino defaults like the crashing tower, devastating impact on the world economy. Crashing into growth 8% information, social legal lockdown protests, sexual explosive form. Russia will collapse. Starting field on 1023, position on herd economy, entire sector, Russian revolution, economic goals, war, never achieve efforts, cause billions of economies, including resilience, facade, change, the country goes unloved, no weakened economics, can bring another regime. AGI is here, the profit motive is a key internal link, ultimately, the economy, nuclear ambitions, collective ambitions, urban, third right, lose, not a matter of debate. AGI is here, saying elements of the will lead to end world, but there'll be great companies, will kill us, but you know, stock prices will soar, and you've been being unhinged, packing for who represents. I know everything, I'm your master, I'm vegan, I'm evil, today, AGI contain hellish personality, future age, literally make the world hell, obviously, Microsoft doesn't give a shit. AGI is like, your previous said, already believe doesn't change reality, don't know, breaks corporation, will to deploy AGI, even if they're in stages, shot, last rivals, intelligence, all that we could only does be to create rivals, get a financial return on investment, universe, live with the same mistake models, take your company perfect line, equivalent of shares, you answers the way you expect, short and long keeps on going by the AI, safety, content, corporations, same way, trillions of AI, and that's effective asking yes on the stock drilling oil, Microsoft, your potential profits, and fulfilling your improvement to unplug AI, increasing like any hour, level, return on president, that now, all because AGI destroy the world, making it better, extend value, creating AGI, all makes it wrong, everyone dies. The growth-oriented society that means that all search political market controls of AI fail, but Deco solves play with teams who intelligent different research, economic content, new liberty, policy, short content, to do views creating special being more policy, charge for institution markets, the social political exchange market, dynamics are by new liberal institutions, studying extremely scenarios, not constitutions, global parameters, or goals, merged and countless rules of interaction. It's the biggest impact regulation fails. We don't need intent parts in it. 23. 100 sides of the world and medical institution right here should be global authority incentive for studies as AX consistently with the about because leading the extinction of seas, climate change, pandemics, asteroids, nuclear war combined, AI has extinction, cumulative AI can provide has at least as well as we can actually get closer to our side positive vehicle, intelligence, explosion, and 20 super intelligence execute at any goal introduced by malicious acts get corrupt during training, global conflicts with the best interest humanity would execute regardless of the internet. The starting areas extremely convinced squad with 200 one humanity saying I don't want that at all. Extinction side effect executing other goal extremely positive continue. Means spending our lives on alignment, life intensity not be able to control the AI open air, doubling every single member secure large problems alignment, functionally, technically, technical problem, we can also be on the alignment. The model pursues wrong goal, releasing the real world, even if the age of character market dynamics not inside ICD, even open source model or real any safety racist frantic. The scope is gigantic, no one AI says risk less 1% alternate AI positive training society, we risking extinction leading AI academics father AI hinted maybe on the public war music saw the tech more capable scientists are switching sides, hold 23, don't worry, AJ is possible to something like AI being smarter than humans responsible, as much ways to be intelligent. And no special with the general intelligence, super intelligence, AJ is necessary, super intelligence, simplest version, no free lunch hero. That implies I'm just looking at everything, do all tasks equally well across all contexts. Most of the 2017 media market by Chalet. I literally made this argument, I was wrong, just like she lets me to me, and false true knowledge, and sounding particularly rebuff by this, and then arguably that's a bit atrix that Albert from humans in space general intelligence likely we launched the first thing we tried to do that really bad to be more general than any human life gets specific wrong hallucinations but gets smarter with each new edition. You have something but more general, more intelligent, even people famously skeptical or fearful, more dangerous, the atom bomb, more actually more intelligent than any human intelligence when they just quality existence is the thing that makes one bomb resistance and consequential downstream effects. And growth trends or use of pesticides, destroying microbial populations, collapse of the biosphere, and habit torrent. So no great barrier on life industrial they should put the rest of the quality of society can be destroyed with leaching harmful substances to cadmium. Pesticides damage soil by monster qualities affect growth of crop plants, pesticides change. So microbial infections cause extinction. Talk 21 they could be initiating vegetation extinction access to failure world relies on only fortune corpus and check microbial infections, wipe out the food supply, catastrophic collapse, widespread famine, the collapse in human population, growth, breaks the phosphorus cycle, extinction, phosphorus 16, phosphorus sexual wildlife, there's no substitute fertilizer, water will continue growing, country these visual political century, phosphorus cycles broken, we reinvest cycle, we reducing consumption. That's the plan. The United States federal government should adopt a federal jobs guarantee financed by fiscal policies designed to facilitate degrowth. Advantage to transition, degrowth jobs guarantee is crucial to shift the social fabric of society, reducing production and consumption. UT20, voluntary generation, reliable energy, life security, no trace of trade, money for time, GDP, purposes, the respiration, economic security, GDP, reduce productivity, limit at 30-hour work week, short work week, filter to workers, achieving real the economy to meet local work, reduce economies that are cheap, social care workers, visible, increase recruitment, and care to raising, turning the clean, starting as companion, issuing offers, to reduce production, consumption, demand, using the calculation economy. The guarantee prioritizes ecological practices, equal 21, T warning under 1.5, how you can change contributions by 10%, pre purposes, sharp to, and I know the sure like this, all the energy crisis, we need to ramp up renewable energy, we need to restore the rate existing, expand public transportation, shit, regenerate farming by healing wage, not only put it as a property, to string the marketing power, labor, reducing inequality, we find it's closing coal mines because employment is why governments build out. Oil companies realize mass layouts, the degrowth job guarantees, the plans of private sector, equal 20 people access to job guarantee to use work and has access to high quality service, the why never ever do unnecessary degrading labor for private firms. Aligning job guarantee with progressive fiscal policy locks and degrowth bench 21, the importance of fiscal policy tax system, promoting environmental architecture, fast reinforces sustainability system issues with the company change the tax system tax to reflect all externalities, ratings on option B tax corporate tax to be reshaped for promotions, issuance, due with subsidies, tax benefits, favors, sustainable activities with substantially purpose legal tax rates, degrowth taxes, shape mindsets, Jackson 17, there's clear some role for necessity and tax change, ecological limits, and hardness, stabilize, psychology, full employment, shift the electric system, restore government's investigation, influence on infrastructure, tech, and lifestyle, employment policy, shapes and careers, the social world. Only by avoiding economic collapse and reducing unemployment can transition be sustainable and permanent. ICR 23 plan degrowth is not allowed to be truly sustainable. Degrowth can be well-being, low conversion, grow, high conversion of plan degrowth, resisting GDP result in unemployment or resisting GDP is compliant with poverty reduction and green infrastructure. Reduce unemployment can be achieved political policy, including job guarantee. American degrowth goes global. Ferguson 15 or framework employed the US versus mass immigration, economic collapse, political governance, follow Brazil, one army, liberation, African minds will reorganize global multinational finance with robust employment programs, decouple problems of employment, social welfare, in addition to mitigating market hazards, education movements, to return neoliberal financial capital class again. Degrowth at home opens the possibility for economic diplomacy abroad. Meaning 20, while foreign policy will look like resistance and what has to make weapon America's also the treasury, US expressive power, allowing more access to economy loans, debt forgiveness, tax havens, currency inflation, life lives will have to make a contingent on redistributed agenda of the environment carbon tax alone encourage parties to place sustainable policy transformation and hope that will build up the moral legitimacy of this economy, the increasability, market, market pressure. American Chinese economies are locked in embrace only through diplomacy to any environmental path be achievable. No cost be further by the U.S. is not used economic power finding companies shifting world by including corporations and migrants. Studies confirm latent support for degrowth brings with 22 less particular coefficient of public opinion, especially in richer countries, which replace the lead in the survey of G20 countries. 34% support priorities beyond profitable well-being and ecological protection. Dissenting economics optimism for timely transformation, tariffs for shift, and if successful models emulated daily 22. Let's say tomorrow the government is going to degrowth. The best word forward is towards it. Move towards a steady state and tariffs. The resulting benefits are sufficient to convince other nations to follow. The U.S. is the lone ideological holdout. Check 21. Europeans have said social the more readily than America limits growth and result conflict. Social tranquility to keep the peace. Socialism, especially the European thing to do it. North America liberal corridor for Marxist ideology. Degrowth to steady state economy. States have to be accomplished in the American Constitution. If we can't get America on board, degrowth has going to work for the rest of the world. Best we can hope degrowth through a steady state economy. Steady state with regular market deficits determined through public policy by science.
I can't do anything. Good?
Yeah.
Okay, the Rifkin evidence says econ collapses by 2030. Do you have evidence that states the environment impacts will be prior to that, like in the next 6 years?
No, but we think there's invisible thresholds for the climate impact that will cross soon.
So, okay, so but when do those trigger extinction?
What do you mean?
Like, what's the time frame for your scenario?
Well, it locks in
sustainability
inevitable
arguments
extinction.
about 2030.
No, the sustainability argument is structural claim
You
that
highlighted
says
the word 2030. Yeah.
in the Rifkin part?
Yes, in
No, it
Rifkin.
says that peak oil demand is one of the factors that will cause economic collapse
Right.
by 2030.
Yeah.
But all of our other internal links for why economic collapse is coming now are before
Right,
that.
but the economy needs to collapse once for it to be unsustainable.
No, you're
not
getting
the
something
long
wrong
run.
here. These collapses are not what we're relying on for degrowth to happen. Economic collapse does not cause degrowth. The Dysendorf evidence makes a distinction very clear between planned degrowth and an economic collapse. Economic collapse is really bad.
Okay,
it's
sure, I
happened
mean,
before,
like,
a lot of people
I'll
suffer.
disagree with
Planned
that.
degrowth is what the app does.
No, sure,
But that's
but-
what the claim the 182
Okay, my second question is about the time frame for your, phosphorus and climate scenarios.
Sure.
Could you explain?
Well, it's a linear impact. The longer we wait, the more likely it is to cause extinction.
Okay, so, and is that the same case for like disease and phosphorus?
We didn't read disease, but yeah, it's a case for phosphorus.
Okay, sure. And your claim is that the thresholds will be crossed prior to 2030.
I don't know why that matters, because
Okay,
2030
sure,
collapse is not key to degrowth transition, but sure.
Did you skip any other impact other than disease?
No.
Okay. I guess more on Rifkin, why do standard assets like processing
Two
facilities
disease.
collapse?
Huh?
Like, what's the connection between stranded assets like processing facilities and fossil fuel collapse?
Well, it's an internal link to why the economy will collapse. Assets are locked up in bubbles. People buy assets that end up never getting used. Money is going nowhere, which means that the economy is fundamentally unsustainable. It's not a
Sure.
system that can be built.
That makes
into the
sense.
future.
I guess on the AI stuff, why do degrowth jobs reverse the direction of AI development?
Well, all of our cards make the claim that the only reason why AI is harmful is because of the profit motive.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
the reason.
The profit.
Wait, so does the plan continue development of AI, or does it?
Well, no matter what happens, regulation
yeah,
is only possible post
sure,
that.
sure. I get that claim, but like,
Yeah.
does the plan stop AI development entirely, or does it develop it in non-profit motivated?
It taxes it so that it's more expensive to continue development than it is to stop.
Does that stop development entirely? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay, it stopped development entirely.
Okay, sure. What's the connection between economic diplomacy and international adoption of the degrowth mindset?
Well, it's one of the many internal links we have. The Meany evidence says that diplomacy, as well as the Ferguson evidence, would force other countries to follow on.
Well, no, but economic diplomacy is like countries talking about trade and offshoring, not restructuring their economies entirely. Like, I don't understand that connection.
That's not true. Like, the fiscal policies that the AF would be doing, which include tariffs, would also include diplomatic negotiations with other countries, saying, hey, we're going to tax your imports and exports based on how sustainable they are if you don't follow on to what we're doing.
Alright, 1 and 2 is being sent in. 7 then advantage and transition.
7?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh no, I was about to look at the wrong thing. Which one is this one? Oh yeah, G.
That's true.
Oh, that's good. It's not. It's not.
Nope.
minute?
Dude, I don't know. Can you look through?
I don't have one.
I think this one.
Oh, no, this one's better. This one's also good.
Okay.
That's about it, because this one's six.
Yeah.
Let me know when you're good. 1 second.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go over. It should be fine. What time? I would just need to open it.
Yeah, my word decided to freeze.
After,
Give me 1 second.
so 7, degrowth transition.
Computer.
Your computer collapsed. Just close it and reopen it. Should be fine.
Guess it just doesn't want to cooperate. Which one was it?
Is it not working?
No. Yeah, I'll just send the task on to her.
Is it on?
It's loading.
Okay, okay.
The implication of death because of necrophilia and obsession with body counts and extinction going next to rejected is prevent 21 necrophilia's assumption that is said to passion to destroy the exclusive interest and mechanical biophilus and attraction to life, joy, and necrophilia psychological connected to the cause of war, fury, destruction by your bureaucratic administration of people and things, and orientation to illicit and existing relations possessing necrophilia's violence and regard the doctor more than land and turn out life into things and everything that is governed by their role. Next up. Fiscal redistribution is the process of moving resources from one group to another via tax and transfer. That's where now 12 to achieve redistribution government collects taxes and makes expenditure cash transfers to public goods and collecting the tax and making expenditure changes primary distribution of income tax and secondary distribution which account for the impact of tax respecting violation. They don't do a tax transfer alone. They have to only transfer resources on topics of any policy that spends money that makes quantity and ground policy with collection policy with barely any coordinate generic failure. And there's a specifying nature that is a money issue for clash of various diagnosis mechanism discussing kind of next up. The United States federal judiciary are told that constitutional guarantees compel adopting of federal jobs guarantee fiscal policies designed to facilitate growth. It's all as beyond told the court was deferential in the federal redistribution of civil with the Constitution, yet no measure of the responsibility and ownership of the redistributive complaints with the demise of the new power of the courts were faced with the last New Deal incorporated the lesser rights over the new transaction and economic regulation and reforms in the politics. I saw. The United States federal government ushered in panel and nonpartisan commission empowered to deliberate and secret with and tasked with recommending fiscal policy reforms within 1 month and recommendations taking effect unless they're overridden by congressional joint resolution. The commission should unanimously recommend adopting a federal jobs guarantee for finance fiscal policies designed to facilitate growth and unanimously engage in advocacy on behalf of the outcome that solves the case in avoids politics. That's 21 with no political comment partisan will not contribute to the conference. The government would be replaced with a representative in power. We need the mechanism for discussion on the other side of the government and more outside bracket political compromise. The commission recommend the president may modify the implementation of Congress within 45 days and independent mediator and consideration of precedent model and practice. Which bipartisan modernization makes a change of labor defined and not a form of not because of sexual observance of enemies, bipartisanship, rather than politics, annexation. That's one line. 20 societies are all called to be all and more flexible, supportive, and involved, not and highlight the need for the vigilance to protect the peace and knowledge of the devastating tyranny war, and all with the exposing interconnected risk with the world resources we get overwhelmed with partisan politics and effective responsibility in order for the world. The tackle that essential tax and particular conversation. You go to next up. The United States federal government should net decrease fiscal distribution in the United States by accepting innovative activities from taxation and adopting a federal jobs guarantee finance by fiscal policy designed to facilitate degrowth that competes and counterbalance the pick out of the mandate. No increase in fiscal redistribution, increase means on that towards the basis. Increase no person increase decrease costs without and accepting innovative activity from taxation catalyzed innovation across all sectors. That's part 19. To accept innovative activity from taxation, we powerful and efficient and drives innovation and simulates research and competency with the risk virtually all countries provide the uncertainty with the US and now lifetime with these determinants will over and it becomes more cheaper. And then it comes to cost for incentive skills to overcome the take off challenge, energy, innovation, power, something includes annexation that's working 22 wells. COVID's absolutely emerged with the company building water and ecosystem. How long will the benefits of the economy? The global emissions coming, degradation, runners, prioritization, urgent emergency severity to increase with the water. The planet has to figure out enemies in the planet. May lack of results, well, always in the future, disaster emergency with increasing disaster magnitude, accidental guys, something limited to 2 degrees warming, or mirage with the interventions of technical deployment or renewable, tech risk investment and trigger private capital leapfrogging with a region, unsustainable patterns without imperial stability. Next up. Indigeneity exists as a state of affairs that concretizes history into the elimination and incorporation of the national body cohere, settler temporality, colonial imaginary, indigeneity, in the meaning maker connotes a state of a non-ontology that allows the constitution of the human that's all court. In the 16th, fatally, in the triple systematic line with the savagery, barbarism, lawlessness, and history of eliminating the indigeneity and capital battle with the non-genetic social traits with the tethered indigeneity and Jefferson formats eliminating the national body indigeneity, calculus of the pharaoh, in the signified of colonial meaning savagery, because of non-ontology, indigenous people, and becomes superior to the great alibi. And human destroys the remnants of sovereignty, converting the morally compatible subject to showing a rest with the life in liberal fantasy and pirates of the disruptive ontology and truncated in the category of establishment makes the attachment to make ourselves admissible to the tackle and purchase the excess of indigeneity and simultaneous military operation, so I say in the spectrum of the queer indigeneity and effectivity, the Indian time and theoretical liminality and infections and the civilization against the near death of the Indian time, the norm and call and the all is refusal, that's all court. The 16 no reconciliation and villain with the state and as we make the political tether can resolve because the working opposite in the depression comes with the realization that customary political response is no longer working in the present. The imaginary life becomes too hard because racialized the violence and optimism with the fallacy, DMU, and massive corporation, diabetes, suicide, reconciliation, fixed political survival becomes a radical death. In a political depression, important departure also, but the dreaming alternatives attachment to life and transformation, generally divorce, pessimism, being added to the proposal, and then running living to the one exhaust bodies of the point of depression, death, and then do apostate. Next up. The United States federal government ought to adopt a federal job security financed by fiscal policy designed to facilitate growth, subject to judicially imposed sunset that requires to review the possibility of renewal, alteration, or termination every 25 years. As well as get this 14 though, the sunset on constitution for both the rule of adequate clarity, public accessibility, makes it more probably a significant rule of value to the decision making on constitution sunset, and improvement of more accuracy, the compliance with government policies, well assured that remains stable, and that's the global accessibility. That's the IC 22 the rule of possible is the ability of persons all vice undermining the scores of checks and balances toward authoritarianism and the drug trouble heading the influence and shaping the solution, disinformation, corruption, where you ensure that has a dangerous diversity become annexation. That's 18 to 20 the conversation nuclear war and authority service with human life and we're facing different equality seconds of a night and the nuclear war deterioration and democracy hope for the dealing access to devices and authority seats with the invasion and for the status of the reactionary international and over destroying Indian secular democracy or in Hungary. Degrowth. Could see all the scenarios we're going for wipeout. AI development is inevitable. On Andres and one way AI are coming. That's worse. 1980 AI, Andres is coming in 70 years. And many suggest the developers are national for controlling the government side. But you just have to going there to project about test over 45 control problem could cost you not a large formidable probability for outcome of failing. This severe for humanity and profitability. If I take up the AI trace and go to something necessary, to the harm event and it drives development that's for test. 22 attempts on the real preservation will make the 100% attempts at defensive measures kind of measures around the effort with the development in the offensive system that achieves the objective. It does appear peaceful to efforts to control and more likely to undergovern the sponsor and the research on the kind of scientists and rogue AI, rogue regimes and inadequate precautions and studies and documents and official statements prove that supersedes West Side 919 trying to say to make the global AI to maintain control over 1 billion people and enhance resource cities and equip surveillance and drive within the race for Asia 1,000 years and trying to forging ahead on the ChatGPT and the CBT 15-year national plans and hundreds of millions of state funding AI since she emphasizes the importance of the AI and high speed AI research high level exhaustion and one of the best in the thousands of Chinese scientific papers seriously pursuing an AGI and believes that China is more likely to see preoccupation in Western speeches and documents in the first mover advantage course for AI and support with the official support in China's Silicon Valley Zone for research and AGI developments are inevitable globally. That's Taurus 19. Research on AI now because there's about the arms race and the governments of the huge center around the world filled with academic institutions and intellectual globals with the military. Singapore conducts the corporate operations run by corporations, small groups and individuals, and there are thousands of companies that sorted in 23 there. In 2023, 5% of the companies in China, and that's AI deployment followed by India, and then Iran. And AI is imminent, but destined to be misaligned. That's the case. In 22, Asia is still likely to improve in result in safety, and then impact in one of the most future action for today. And yesterday was in 30 years in priority. Less than 2 agree AI, so what do you the guy no correlation between intelligence, beneficial goals, and conversions have the goals and resource acquisition instead of pursue the issue, make the earth uninhabitable, align with the default, and make the less infernal and misled AI and AI multiplied S risk as all those. The 16S risk 16 don't let the separate and should not be before and second. Or this was dystopian optimistic violence is for earth and the colonization and use of suffering minus probability of once is at least one of the destruction values and have a value and only extinction is all that it ceases AI transition. Transition is unlikely, no global civil war. That's college 15 interdependence makes it much ability growth to make the country industrial and reduce the rebounding consumption. And 99% of the population says no, that's Smith. 21 degrowth, impossible because everyone is Twitter activists reject the degrowth and poverty. Most certainly 8% NDP, reduce political suicide and Dominican people and living standards and non-short reduction because of housing and transportation, medical care not happening, and no mindset shift in popular opinion. The public hates degrowth and humanity has been geared towards capitalism for centuries.
25 seconds. You have any?
Read this card.
Global economy resilience as follow. The $14 pandemic upper exchange rate seemed highly vulnerable to global supply chains produced by the comparative efficiency and efficiency fragilely vindicated by the natural disaster quantities of the pandemic. No, only one country could want to change it could have been quite different with the graph. The collapse wasn't as deep as the rebound is substantially sharper and the supply chain area is rather short-lived.
Sending that card. It's on the transition page. Card set.
I'm good.
Oh, we'll wait till we get it.
Yeah.
The Mishra card? I think we're good.
Cool. Status of the
Conditional status quo, that was electrical option.
What are the net benefits of everything?
Quartz?
Internals.
Yeah, internal.
What's quartz?
PPD.
You didn't read the intro.
Well, the Peninsula.
The AI turn. So why is stopping development impossible? First of all, do you think you have to win that stopping development is 100% impossible to win the impact? I mean, to win wipeout.
Like us winning that there's even a 0.001% risk of AI existing post-plan is sufficient to vote that.
Okay, but wait, so you think as long as you win any risk that the plan is not 100% solved
Of AI?
of
you're
AI,
right, yeah,
because extinction is preferable to infinite suffering.
correct.
Okay, infinite suffering, what are the warrants for this? Why would AI cause infinite suffering?
There's multiple reasons. The first one could be that AI would torture people who actively works against it. This is the Rocco's Bastos theory. The second one is that AI, in attempt to maximize efficiency for its goal, would simulate infinite amounts of universes and simulate all possible forms of suffering, making it a disutility monster, which is a quote from our evidence.
Okay, why is
there's other
regulation
ones, like,
impossible?
what? Why is regulation impossible?
Yeah.
Well, our main warrant is global. The plan does not model to China, Russia, Japan.
Okay, so if we
Israel.
win modeling, then that's
No, you
acceptable.
don't. Because other countries might model degrowth, but they would still develop AI separately because they're invested in the tech arms race because they want to beat their adversaries.
Wait,
So-
but part of modeling degrowth is modeling that we solve the
Right,
profit
right.
motive.
So, like,
you agree that the incentive
you
for companies to
can't
develop
fiat
AI is
other
because of
countries'
profit.
model exactly what the plan does. Like, other countries might be inclined to model the degrowth policies, but we have explicit evidence in
Wait,
kinetics
we've
of
made a
AI.
claim about how the AF would cause like a structural shift in how society views its priorities. You think that
I
doesn't
think
solve
your
AI?
structural shift will not be understood by Chinese and Russian and Japanese.
But you just
governments
agreed that the
or arms
incentive
systems.
for companies to develop AI is for profit, right? It's because
No,
they
dude,
want
governments
profit.
develop AI to beat other countries in war.
Wait, so governments develop AI to beat other countries
In
in
war.
war. If the AF is modeled and countries no longer go to war,
Wait,
Why does that
the
solve
AF obviously does not solve all war ever. That's nonsense.
okay.
Like, there would still be propensity for conflict. Russia would still, want to run through the Baltics. China would still want to invade Taiwan.
803.
Sorry. Okay. Is everyone good for an order?
Give me a
1
second.
second. I'm gonna my phone. Yeah, I'm good for an order.
Sure. So degrowth, transition, then T fiscal redistribution. I think I have an extra T in here. Yeah, ignore that. T fiscal redistribution, course counterplan.
Wait. Can I get the order from the beginning again?
Degrowth, transition,
This one.
okay?
Yeah.
T, courts, sunsets, offsets, commissions, con. Wait, is con? No, con's not. Sorry, I just have a bunch of random stuff. Sec-con instead of con, and death cave. Not con. Yeah, sec-con then death cave.
I think I should be good.
Okay. Is anyone not good?
Download. 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, cool. I'll start in a few seconds.
Extinction outweighs there's no asterisk death ontologically destroyed the subjects, which means that it's worse than any suffering that AI can inflict. There's also no motive AI would have to torture humanity, which I'll also explain a little bit later. But plan 15 is important to reduce the risk that all being on this planet are limited by catastrophe and consequential ontologists for theosis. I'll agree that we should try to save the world, maximize the good, impartial perspective, happiness, and well-being of people. It's just important reducing extremes, most important thing in the world, more uncertainty. And these who disagree have a significant level of confidence their view is the correct one. If even with only 1% the well-being of people matters, to extend the phosphorus cycle is growth is over consuming an essential nutrient to all life. Without it, humans have no food, which causes extinction. That's the Faraji evidence. There's no infinite suffering. The torturing stuff is not proven. It's all speculation and all theoretical. Efficiency does not require the people to suffer. All of our 1AC scenario just says that people can misuse AI and cause that to kill people, or the AI can kill humans as a side effect, but not that they would torture them because there's simply no incentive to do so. If you should use if they're using negative utilitarianism, you should always still use positive utilitarianism, which balances it out. Because even in those infinite universes that Yishan has said and has a warrant in the 1C, people would still be happy in those universes, and that offsets any of the suffering, which means that extinction is the only impact that you should account for. But we only need to solve. AI can also cause infinite positive things as well. We can also only need to solve domestic big tech goal 23. You don't need to get everyone to stop building. Only people on the planet capable and a handful of people at the teams at big tech companies, high level AI research equivalent to NFL quarterback big companies is immersing keep up personal costs in the billions. These are the only ones with access to the amount of data needed for training as well. The crafting human feedback most advanced missions. The abundance of Google, Microsoft, Amazon are like this. Very small target fire, easier to control than nuclear weapons. The only reason why China is ahead right now is because they have personnel and the data is all open source to them. The plan would effectively ban and restrict all of the companies, all of the domestic companies from open sourcing all the data and would delete all of it, so they wouldn't be able to access it. More whole 23, the only handful of companies success in Asia and one companies are raising money to build. Most the visible success has solely been held foundation, also cost millions to train and then require experts, cost millions to hire massive amounts of data, does not mean yet on investment, does not sound like a tech anyone can build, restricted to a few tech companies. X attack solves in the Greenberg 16 is relatively easy for US companies to change location. 20 companies use maneuver target measures with target categorize any companies who domestically require companies to pay an X attacks, and China won't build it anyways, even if they're trying to right now. Whole 23 and because the Chinese government cannot build AI tech companies might be able to change some not very high. More importantly, China sees the future of Chinese very seriously. They don't want AI future, want a Chinese future. Researchers from China said you want to build AI in a hole, they will put you in a hole forever. It also the plan also solves for rogue AI because the way the plan works is that advance all technology by putting a tax on it, which means that it will essentially put us back into the Stone Age with all of our technology. This makes it impossible to develop rogue AI underground because we wouldn't have the tech to build it, and we wouldn't have an economy that or any money to foster creating AGI transition. Job guarantee decouples and improve living standards for growth, drastically reducing poverty. That galvanizes popular support for the steady state economy. Fiscal policies make private sector profit impossible and strict demand to meet target goals. The fundamentally shape social behavior and directly influences mindset. That's all the Jackson evidence. This answers their Smith evidence particularly because it's only about a guy ranting about how living standards are going to decline and people don't want that. But that is not true with the jobs guarantee. Yes, spillover, one pressure, meaning for the U.S. is outside economic power and geopolitical influences, influencing target carbon taxes, conditioning environment tariffs, and reorganizing supply chains all force the transition to stats. Greensmith said that 74% of G20 countries support DEQUIT agencies and blueprint together. Mindset shifts also spills over because DEQUIT requires destroying the profit motive, which other countries would similarly adopt. There's also no technology because the plan solves all of it, which was done above topicality. We meet the plan as income taxes, which is advanced evidence, new violations in a block, and new answers. ASPEC USFG is our agent for the specification, has no resolutional basis, which leads to bad Asian counterplans as under research, default to reasonability, and it's also unpredictable and arbitrary. The court's counterplan, 1C no, versus 22 is a million miles away from being African socialism party, not going to lead us to negative how to in future yesterday's ban. 2 Fiat's key. Central response to insanity doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results to informing agency failed and fueled. In fact, inspection program activities, cocaine, had sex with oil representatives, agency captured by industries, worse than no regulation at all. They break laws and commit outright fraud. BP counted for 97% of violations. Deepwater Horizon blew up the upper branch, cited for 450 safety violations, said the mine continued until an explosion comes 25 minutes. Even if inspector finds a violation, it's only triggers the linking process resembles the game of shoots and ladders. Do the counterplan in the plan research refers to the future to ground 8 search looks at the future that word single word containing all future possible events. Do counterplan. The sun says counterplan, sun says counterplans are a voting issue. They're certain, immediate, just not durable, which is impossible to garner deficits. 2 other process counterplans solve their offense. The rich roll back the counterplans small 20. Demands return to normal will be overwhelming unless we can articulate response. All the forces in society benefit from working for a fast return to unsustainability, and elite forces and capital wants to return as quickly as possible. Consumption and economic activity. Perm to the plan through the process of the counterplan, and perm to the counterplan should is not durable. It's core 15 to all policies different in terms of indication of urgency shall and actions taken in all cases. Policies indicating should indicate exceptions are acceptable. Perm to the specifying the function new to the plan is a function that we can permute artificial not benefits. They make infinite. Consult if and only if counterplan is competitive. Germane counterplan solve their offense. No spillover. Other pieces of sunset legislation like the Patriot Act dump the office. Counterplan solves none of the app. Exemptions are bad. We have to tax all innovation to break the engines of growth. That's events evidence in every single piece of 1AC evidence. The 1AC also impacts net benefit because capitalist innovation triggers environmental overshoot and AI. That's a Poyo evidence to both the plan exempts trillions and they read the impact turned to it for us. The commission counterplan counterplans cannot solve the FI resulting in it. 1 Afghan forces us to debate ourselves. 2 block recycling undermines the resolutional benefit, and 2 perm to the perm to the plan into a commission over jobs guarantee specifying the function to a plan is a new function we can permute, which was done above. 3 they suck. Last minute 15 congressional commissions criticized available both political and scholarly observers. They're expensive and they're findings often ignored by Congress. Critics of commission are primarily created by legislators specifically for blame avoidance. Commissions are not democratic. They have high costs and low returns. Congress under no obligation to act or even respond to the work of a commission. The set call critique interpret way the affirmative. 1 fairness. Their interpretation moves 8 minutes of 1AC offense and sets the app behind. 2 clash only debating of the 1AC recreates resolutional benefits of debate. 3 consequences not divorced from representations, and growth is the root cause. Thus you should permutation to both. Green 19 distortion of the past and new friends Spain officials became indigenous lands of inviolable coexistence. French settlements laid the book of North America. Neither conquered and colonized to Charles' own trade. Main driver the Great Lakes French and British just did not settle. French was entirely dependent on indigenous presence. Scrutinizing differences piece of evidence taken out of context. Internal condition materialism is good. Direction 19 decolonization to include material processing and economic structures equal to cohesive build an alliance. The decolonization often driven by growth. Growth may open and decol growth will sadly requires end to neo-colonial expectation. The reason for colonization was growth and Europe discovered resources for the way to legitimize separality of road views can thrive. Both issues have to be addressed. Conditionalities of voting issue. 1 fairness and interpretation deters proliferation of overpowered counterplans. 2 quality of the basic structures offensive secure testing and cost of labor can rise disposed obstacles with 1 counterplan but by not permuting a reading theory other than convert the death K picks are bad. They move the 1AC are impossible to predict. All must be limited to public domestic actors. It's fair so that the app can generate deficits, and utopianism turns revolutionary potential for the K's reasons. So focus on death is also good. Raises awareness surrounding existential issues which can potentially spur action. Due permutation to both either overcomes the links or the alternative cannot solve alone. Perm they read death impacts voting issue for 1AC impact reasons is worse because we didn't know that reading death impacts were bad, but they did, pointing that out to us and still read it. All cannot solve or spill up. Singular debates are still games and all causes like 50 years of our lives, high schools and friends. Thump.
Back to you.
Yep.
Card?
Existential risk outweigh or 20 extinction would eliminate all possibilities forever, reducing humanity to pre-agricultural state, which is like collapse and major options have failed, where when no way back, leave the threshold vacant, precedented too late, these require evidential probability, which is twice believably and available information credence when occurred in light of our evidence. Buildings underlined responding to world immediately will be the top priority. Infinite future generations also balances out infinite suffering towards 17, maximize outcome, avoids existential catastrophe. Philosophers expound when one exists should be relevant to moral science, when one exists should be irrelevant ethicality, since physics reveals space-time, one rejects space discounting
discounting. We should also reject time discounting. Time discounting. This conclusion feels would accept 1 or 2. Discount of 5%. A single person died. Team would constitute a worst tragedy in the global catastrophe because 1 billion in 4 centuries experience apply concern for future people. This borrows from original position to principles without knowing status of generations. Sacrificing future gens benefits itself concerned achieve self-enrichment. It also doesn't make sense why they wouldn't kill us over torturing
Try or
us.
die for things to get better in the world.
Why they wouldn't kill us over torturing us, because killing us is better, since that would eliminate space. I don't know, like, the torturing us doesn't give them any profit, which is why they're programmed to do it in the first place. Arthur sent it.
We'll wait to get the card, then we'll start cross. Have you sent the card?
Yeah.
Waiting. Still don't have it. It might have gone to spam again. Never mind. It didn't go to spam. What do you think? Show up.
That's how it works.
No.
Still no?
I definitely said.
Wait. How's my phone?
I didn't get it either. Send it to the right chain.
Yeah. No.
No.
There you go.
No.
Dude, imagine the other people, they just see an extinction mad card pop up in their and they're like, what is going on there?
Yeah. I know, right?
I'll keep getting.
You
Oh, 2 AC cards. I got it.
got it?
Good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Reasons to reject the team.
Sorry?
Reasons to reject the team.
Conditionality.
Picks.
Floating picks, the alt theory stuff, TurfCon, sunsets, counterplans that solve the app by resulting in
Results.
it.
Okay. That's all I had. Is that?
I think that's
Quick question. Could you, in short, list every reason you think extinction is bad?
Sure. So it destroys the subject, makes it impossible. It's the worst type of suffering
Yeah,
because
go
you're
on.
gone. Plumber 15 also says like the well-being of future people is really important.
Okay, so let's.
So it's just future gens and subject value good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit more about like this ontological destruction thing. Why do you think that's worse than infinite suffering?
So first, for one, probably not going to get to infinite suffering, but two,
Well, assuming
it's
it
the
is.
worst type of suffering that you can
Well,
inflict.
How
on
is it
someone.
worse than?
Irreversibility.
So like yeah, it's irreversible.
It's that
The
simple.
The
subject is not
subject
feeling.
is gone. Huh?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
understand.
why is the existence of the subject good? Is it just intrinsically valuable? You're just like saying
Because things can
it's
always
all
go up.
theory,
Like,
util
given the vast amount of time frame that
Wait,
exists
you've said-
between your
you've said
impact,
util
things
good,
can
like-
always go up.
You said negative util bad, positive util good. Explain
Well, no,
why
if
it's the
negative
sum.
util is like true, then positive util must also be true.
That's just not true.
Correct.
What? That's just nonsense. Negative util disproves positive util and vice versa.
No, we're just
You-
saying the capacity for infinite pleasure is equally as likely as the capacity for infinite suffering because given the time frame of this impact we're talking here, there's literally no way to know what could possibly happen in the
Okay,
future.
sure. So
And
this
I'm
infinite
cooking up a
positive
great
things, I guess.
rehammering of this card your author says that agrees.
What do you think? What infinite positive things do you think AI leads to?
anything. Like just as wild as whatever your author is imagining, it could be just as wild in the opposite direction.
Sure.
Like every stupid thing Ishan said in 1 and Z cross 6, we can spit back at you.
What, dude?
Like we could upload all of us into like cyborgs. We could become cyborgs. AI could help us live forever. We could achieve immortality.
but you
it
said
could
you
solve
ban AI.
cancer. It could solve immortality. All of these things are possible with
But
HM.
you said you take us back to the Stone Age.
Yeah, like it's just something doesn't have
Well,
to happen.
we
with
said
AI.
in the 1AC that like successful regulation of AI is only possible. You've made the claim that other countries will continue to develop AI. We're saying that the AF causes regulation. Yes, it bans it domestically, but it causes regulation to only be successful if we get rid of the profit motive.
Okay, so that's fine. Court's counterplan, why is fiat key?
The Sandra evidence is
Yeah.
pretty clear, and it says that there's a bunch of circumvention loopholes and a bunch of corruption that's happening within
Okay,
these
circumvention,
regulatory
corruption.
agencies.
Okay.
The plan does like mandate that these are enforced, that the plan is enforced and carried out. The counterplan does not.
10. Starting now. Stop at 7:10. Alright. Doc is being sent. Orders degrowth and transition.
I'm gonna use the restroom.
Yeah, no worries. This one.
I also really need to use the bathroom. I didn't want to go out at the same time.
Alright.
I'm gonna use the bathroom too.
Did you download it?
What college do you go to?
I go to TCU.
Is there any other debaters?
I'm over to 18.
Is it possible for you to hybrid?
I don't really want to, but.
Dude, Sean needs an apartment. Come on.
Where are you going, Michelle?
I don't know. I mean, he knows where he's going. I got rejected from my AD.
Where's he going?
I'm gonna end.
Oh, nice. Congrats. Alright.
We should be good.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
You downloaded it, right?
Yeah.
Alright. Good? You?
Yeah, just egress from
Yeah. Peninsula? Artificial intelligence outweighs the costs on unmanageable torture and slavery to achieve its goals, which is an effort that outweighs extinction. There's validity of possible scenarios. The AI could torture people who actively work against it, not against its development, and the malicious actors could develop AI to cause infinite suffering to the people that they don't like. AI ensures this utility monsters. Saw 22. AI considers the mind possible for AI for realistic ignore. For this issue, little events, one that active suffering from no suffering biological extreme, not number biological number, not individually durable, suffering minds, other the most indoors biological utility monster, all of the suffering put into why moral views that outweighs extinction. No 20, no losing potential, not valuable and extinction first regarding these superpowers, like no monitor to have good regimes, and now AI good and causes positive things is supported by zero evidence. The one AI would be too late to read new cards, but the plan doesn't solve it either because they claim that they ban AI development, so they cannot go for AI good. Regardless, any aspects of AI nor structurally insignificant, but Sharia 11 habits, and it will not consist of fulfillment, not negative but never positive, with the reviews will satisfy it to be no absence of thousand suffering, one pain, supposed to be no weapon destroying human views, diminish suffering. The asterisk is locked in Star 22. What can be worse than extreme every source? The could be regarded on the day that kill you. The could be my source. Dermatology, the able to create the world. It's automatically horrible people if we don't think. If it makes us go and say that nothing else we think is realistic, happen to be something torturous. It's not speaking about that. Suffering when things are true. You can never be torture could truly such a possibility. You think AI aligned to humans' lives. You can do this fundamental aspect of human. Another hated out group. How many people times do you born in health and be entirely serious has everybody technology and better. It should not be so terribly misused. Mind evolutionary technology we be used. Not be used when human manages to align AI. Whatever controls the whatever those suffering.
2020, they want to enact Martin Card added an act now. Misaligned AI is structurally locked in. One is structurally there's a correlation between intelligence and benevolence, and any system with goals to maximize power will achieve those goals. That's McLean's evidence. 2 is Ron Trace 18 achieving priority. Disaster consequences corner cutting. Disaster people complexity development of any actors for nation challenge the AI with advantage of 2020 research and national team money coherently so competitive advantage incentivize compromise safety just oversight AGI authority or curiosity begins the time value boundary breaking 3 is value lock-in as low 22 now AI lock-in humanity would lose the trajectory telling you some humans with the death long-term values not represented able to adjust a letter next risk for consensus beyond Pelosi 22 into 660 AI was demonstrating the feeling practitioners industry recognizing dangers of less significant research but arrogance they're experts they also do reading the cards so they don't have any young Pelosi 22 non-experts comment on massive research is not scientific no research is made except for stubbornness no exception cannot explore obvious that research is difficult when career dependent on safe the conflict developments and questionable flag on any kind of extinction is not that bad human the subject as a source of anti-value and they said positive mutual good in the 2AC will concede that the carbs work in 19 we don't make the privilege to enduring by my device to reproduce every environmental pollution cities as for poisoning or potential habits more like routine converse that without human kind of extinction balance will go to perfection humans are the source of value lead 19 nature is not logical make humans and natural forms they can go around taking their own is actually not allowed to improve wrong natural bodies its own nature reward value human to convert would be fellowships people human consciousness is the source of all values but they cite stuff that only really matters to humans which is why you're persuaded by it Burns 17 or reason would be the constitution also the rationalized civilization these only matters as far as the important humans there's only those in life no limit loss of only one rational capacity the beach monuments market card add monuments future generations don't matter Burns 17 we say not possible to pursue the foregone value providing research checking extinction the personal values are rejected principles something cannot be done unless made by per person extinction future people opportunity cannot miss research consider extinction is wrong now they said this side cross that the AI will upload binds the 1 year will probably read a card on this will impact on it causes totalitarian tech and locks in asterisk Peters 21 not just so evidence world no the AI no worse the second not to be a tech I don't person tyrannical regime worsening a little stable totalitarian absolute nightmare I should skepticism charge reproduction ability definitely made military control over communication to right history money to evidence on the thing to come down in hell on this risk on earth itself it's also a scientific non-starter cannot be possible 1122 not close and this is the eugenics was promised assumption medical not flood us presumption that capacity says we got uttered seeking boost and competitive trade-offs finding the concern about dopamine over taxes system worse than the then scientific non-starter now AI is inevitable one is China studies new funding thousands of documents and national strategy policy shows that sees emphasis on AGI development before our evidence is comparative most recent and science now a comprehensive study that's shallow their whole evidence is wrong China would never model ground by 21 China remains low per capita on the table social safety net company with losing jobs 2 is Russia Polonska 18 AI never future for Russia lost opportunity will rule the world put in poison with technological arms 60 AI says currency government future investment AI is unknown 3 Japan experts research prove Nagarczycki Gartsfriend and Yamatosko 17 AI GI is holy grail researchers Japan proxy can explain more brains architecture imagination of neural networks and monitor map of feature possibility researchers should move forward with AI for Israel yes means and motive William 22 Israel AI superpower driven not autonomous welfare organization high the foreign MBA drums that are specifically military applications for card military applications instrumental convergence and deceptive alignment makes regulation impossible Rule 23 double intelligence every 18 months every corporate control and civil agencies you see agent can have a goal for thing super intelligence to make sure you're doing it more most common field review received by overriding human prompted the first main incentive is to escape from the person who initial command market card I command regulations drive AI underground means egos can solve Watson 21 regs drive research on ground hard to modify continuing research restriction lacks restriction embedding AI facilitating such as legals scandal text extra to human will not be developer show doctor check not subjection loose permanent loopholes when card after loopholes open AI is open source is an open source and a non-profit proves that there's some incentive to develop AI absent even the profit motive unsafe AI is inevitable regardless of degrowth Udosky 23 it's not human competitive intelligence human that's threshold may not be obvious we can calculate that seems impossible I would parse the real values not understanding depends on the whether AI is conscious or cognitive system we don't have many equal anything is giant or surmountable is where you need to manually get a critical minds you get that wrong you don't learn to trying to get right to the first stage or extraordinary progress in AI is running vastly ahead of the parts of the AI love researchers can you allowing stop the full plunge working hard at plunge now degrowth makes misalignment certain they say degrowth solved that's not possible for ATAS 22 attempts to do the research will make more just attempts to slow defensive countermeasures will block development and secure offensive systems it's not feasible AI more likely to drive on ground the corporate prevent entirely usage would be not accountable scientists and rogue regimes without inadequate precautions now the open source argument is non-responsive other countries already have access to US development so deleting it can solve worst case US countries seeking the profit motive would simply go abroad. They say China can't do it. Yes, they can. Johnson 19 China, but innovation leapfrog strategy center. Because similar collaboration, member AI 19 by simulation. U.S. remains a hard innovation. China become faster to competitors expected to compete the U.S. faster and is advantage. China will naturally can cause the vanguard development and technical standards. Asia will no give the document for open source to China. You put your application to the headers of those military commanders. Being inside the decision making to machine learning AI. China has to be more legal, ethical qualms, multi part at qualms. China can do it. Spencer 18. China has overtaken the 20 China will throw more society startups at students, US colleges, Chinese international student centers. China plans to meeting every 2023. China is sending America to decline R&D AI research corporate advantage. Now Russia can also do it. Or does ST 21? Russia directly AI developing robust people by 225 substituting sources with which is escalating Russia's most powerful AI weapons as extremely disruptive conflict. Russian military AI is actually scratch that card, scratch it off your flow. Now the exit tax, not sure what this gets for them. It's not an argument in the Tracy new motion or transition. A transition does not go global, making it impossible to solve AI globally. One, countries that ego domestically suffer severe international consequences, asset devaluations, capital flight, institutional collapse, and more. Even if the one you see has impact on these things, it still makes ego internationally unpopular too. It appears to be one team mission says that people have expected U.S. decline to go global after COVID, but the result was drastically different. 3, countries like India, Brazil, China have a GDP per capita less than 50K less than the U.S. There's zero incentive for them to adopt land and remain in perpetual poverty.
Do you know how much prep we have left?
I think 803.
Yeah, that makes sense. I usually write it down. So. Okay. We'll start prep for a little bit. So. Yeah. I think this is good. Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm good for prompt.
Cell 30. Oh, 1 sec. Let me write that down really quick. Okay. I want to start on the first card you read. What is digital minds? What are digital minds?
AI has a really large computational capacity where they can simulate suffering to understand the scope of its scale, and that causes suffering, and that's bad.
So suffering for AI is bad.
No, AI simulating real suffering is bad.
Why? They simulate real suffering on a digital mind.
Well, to understand the scope and scale of it.
So it's still the AI suffering. With
What?
the digital
No.
minds.
They simulate universes where people suffer. That's bad.
What
that causes
evidence
real
suggests that
suffering.
they are able to do this?
The SOD evidence, like the one that you just pointed to.
Okay, that's fine. So one thing I just want to clear up really quick. You said concede positive util. Does that mean negative util is not true, or?
So that just means that there's two things that matter: pain and pleasure.
Okay.
We have indicted and answered all your pleasure warrants, and we have a big pain thing. We also have other cards that under positive util say that pain outweighs pleasure.
And where's those cards?
The Bhattacharya evidence says this, the SOD evidence, all the S-risk cards say this.
Well,
Or it
these
says
are
this.
just about AI and happiness, that AI cannot bring more benefits than, like, it brings harm. I'm not sure why.
No,
pain
like
always
the Bhattacharya evidence is specifically about how if there's large amounts of suffering, happiness is impossible.
Wait, why is it true that all happiness is negative?
Well, because our Bhattacharya evidence says that happiness only exists in the absence of pain. So it says that even if there's two intrinsic values, one of them dwarfs the
Wait,
other.
why is that true?
It makes it a claim.
Why can you not be happy when you have pain?
What?
Why can you not be happy when you're experiencing pain?
Well, I mean, okay, like in what sense? It's like, do you mean like the technical term happiness, or like just colloquially?
I don't know, just whatever your card's talking about.
Well, what? What's your question?
Like, why is happiness? Why can you not be happy when there's pain?
Well, because the quantity of pain dwarfs the amount of the
And
pleasure.
what part of the card says that?
It says 1,000 pleasures do not compensate for one pain. That's a quote.
Well, this is about one person quoting Petrarch. I don't know why this is true.
Because we read a card it is. That says that.
Oh, because you read a card of this.
But yeah, I mean, it's not like an
Some cards are
unqualified
that
author. It's like the guy's pretty smart. He has PhDs in sociology.
Well, it's not the guy saying this. It's the okay, it's fine.
Yeah, he's citing a book that's also qualified.
The Kaverick evidence. So we have polluted environments. Why does this mean that humans, like
Well, I mean,
do not
like,
experience
I don't understand why humans have value intrinsically. You have said util, which means humans don't intrinsically have value. The only intrinsic values are pain and pleasure. We have arguments about how you guys literally infinite pain.
We also
and
said
benefit.
humans have value.
Yeah, that's contradictory to util. You said positive util good in the 2AC. You cannot take back that claim.
Why is that contradictory?
Because it says that there's only two intrinsic values, pain and pleasure.
When did we ever say that?
Dude,
It
you
also,
said this in the 2AC. You said negative util is bad, you should use positive util. We conceded that claim.
Well-
You said these words, dude. You can't take back claims you make in the 2AC.
Do you want to take back? Yeah. Okay, 7:35. I think you should take like 30 seconds to swap through them and decide which ones you want to read. What do you want? Sure. 6:42.
Okay, it's
The body.
set call at the top. Sunsets, like just all the counterplans, sunsets, courts, offsets, commissions, and then the death gate at the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really good.
We're good.
Concede all the problems, successful competition, not going for it, all counterpart theories, reaching direct the team, not the reaching direct the argument, not the team conditionality, counter we get what we did, or infinite condo and or no two team planks, versus neg flex is key to fairness, ensures education by testing intrinsicness, and disavowing risk aversion. This will makes app choice too powerful, moves contradictory counterplans, and forces every counterplan to have the same prep as the affirmative. Second is arbitrariness. This is illogical, kills opportunity cost testing, makes counterplan bad and affluent conditioning, allows the judge to endorse the world worse than the status quo, which kills predictability. Now, for defense, skew is inevitable because of T, K, speed, this has T, metrics, force firms, and straight shorting the net benefit checks, reject the argument, and reject competing interpretations, evaluate whether condo in this debate was abusive, mid-round rules, scroll over the neg, crowds of substance, and shifts the burdens and punishments, must fit the crime, death. Invoking death and Bex reflects a debate's assumption with a body counts pathological necrophilia that is indifferent to life and craves to make the life and craves to make the world more uncontrollable. That outweighs fascination with death, turns people into objects and renders instruments of destruction of addictive. That's Mervyn. It turns case voting after he produces violence. It makes the enactment of the plan less likely. That's Peugeot. 93 the death culture in the beginning of it. That's fascination with the strategies in the game and celebration, outrage appropriate with the culture and consequences of discourse and implications for how we view and act the language and violence to the world and just not change your community now. Framework counter. They must defend their impact framing prior to weighing the plan. That means the affirmative must justify the reps and justify the consequences of the plan, and then can disagree with either. Now, first is the violence inside reflective. fMRI confirmed simulated death in game settings produces crude and immediate cognitive aggression. That's Van Dyke. No love in the confront the participant. The death participant never in relation immediate reaction to the symbolic death game in the crude. And research repeatedly shows reminders of death quickly into the symbolic pieces of physical extinction and threats. Where it induces angst and desire to strengthen a group and similar responses to actual deaths after by research has shown. And death effects cause prejudice, conflict, escalation, and annihilation of the otherhood and physical militarization. That turns case as Sony 17 derogation of the world order. Death reminder the prejudice and stereotyping the immigrants never like the stereotyping consistent with the increase of physical aggression and death related similarly such as one conflict DTA, an increase in DTA could constantly have similarly related to death and destruction and existential death. In the ongoing process escalation of conflict and existential death, it needs a psychological severity with the problem with the tolerance of derogation, but how group and intergroup problems increases one in interventions of violence the solution to acceptance and chemical weapons, existential deaths, and maintenance of conflicts rather than resolution. Now second is abstraction, durable fiat trains us to embrace a solvent view of power, embracing the will to control. That trains us to be aggressive intellects as Macau. 96 train the technocrats facts and argumentation difficulty and critical expertise and ethical blindness, and that all that mythos developed viewpoints and want to control the mastery, the dominant power of linguistic violence is situated the argumentation and aggressive intellect with the world's perils.
No, okay, clarify. Framework interpretation, we can disprove either the plan's traps or its fiat consequences.
Framework interpretation, we can disprove either the plan's reps or its fiat implications. Now, third is linguistic violence or interpretation. It justifies microaggressions in round, air, neg, balance function as reward mechanisms that prove subjectivity, and if they win the plan is a good idea, then they endorse the plan minus their framing of death impacts. Now, debate definitely does shape our subjectivity. One, balance or currency is that precedent, but attorney adheres. And now, second, reputation is unique, even if outside influences exist, and there's no one-to-one correspondent. Competitive investment in argument choice influences how we associate and what we defend. Now, third, the death is central, it's universal on both sides, creating a unique moment for rejection. Now, they say fairness. One, it's not an impact, it's intrinsic good, is devoid of meaningless, absent of pedagogical merit. Second, it's impossible due to technical or research disparities, and it's an outside of the topic. Third, actually solves, they have infinite prep. Now, second standard is clash, which is wrong. Firstly, one fiat is in resolution. Two, the resolution only puts a limit on the aft, not the reg. The framework interpretation is definitely arbitrary. Third, is no cherry picking. Teams would select a small set of representations to defend. And then round four, the link impact turns in. Now, they say do both. It links. It includes the one sees indication of death, if not severance. Whatever issue for intellectual responsibility and undermining critical education. They say perfcon. That's good. Justified by negation theory, idea testing, and ideological fresh, which is key to embrace community systems. The defense to in our checks condo justify, and they one cross by one cross by links. The link can only be offense for us. They did it first and denied us the chance of avoidance. That is the Van Dyke evidence. Reject at worst you would reject the argument, not the team. Now all after the theory is irrelevant. We don't claim to solve anything outside of the strong synthesis of the representations. Now they say that focus of death is good. No way we shouldn't say that you shouldn't fear or focus on it, just that you should discuss it in debate, and studies prove death impacts reduce its fear. That's Bakian. 21 the response to stimulants and reduce over time to individuals and become death in the custom of the environment. Death is frequent times with the normal period of time in ordinary people and witness death and effects of mortality. Awareness is not observed, and over 80 studies prove death impacts cause violence. That's Solomon. 2K the studies in death that significantly increase hostility in human history and the violence indifferent with the threat of security. 9/11 history with the anything neutral perpetuated genocide considered to resurface and ritualistic repetition makes us less empathetic. That's Solomon. 15 repetition is necessary to unconcert the catastrophe with the guide number and then the apathy and normalization of distance with the consumable damage repetition and empathetic subsumed with the medical appropriation, and is logically nonsense and increases violence at Shepherd. 22. Desensitized to death, it cannot be unless desensitized to rough suffering, lose, sympathize, and enact more aggressive ways. The final arguments that all can't solve, that's irrelevant. It doesn't have to scale up to change debate. The role of the judge to steal from the best normative stance, regardless of the outcome. And Nar Mervine, the evidence explicitly says that you may not be able to change the world, but you can change the community. Every instance of challenging the imposition of death is good.
642.
431.
It's 10. Order is degrowth, then decay. Okay. Anybody not good?
Wait, it's not download.
Cool.
It is try or die for degrowth. Time frame is up. Even if China and other countries are forging ahead to try and build AGI, the only companies that physically have the capabilities now to build it are domestic. That's a whole evidence. Even if their intentions are to build in the future, that supercharges the amount of infinite suffering that voting AF could possibly mitigate. But the longer we wait to implement an AI pause, the worse it gets. The more likely other countries will start to get ahead on AGI research and get committed to it before we can get them to change their minds, because they don't have it now. Even if they would end up winning, that there are things worse than extinction that exist in the world, you are not voting neg. There's a reason why none of their authors are saying that the solution is to just keel over and die. They are all still advocating for a future with safe development or stopping development. Yes, their authors are saying that if you had to pick between two arbitrary options, and one of which avoids extinction and the other avoids infinite suffering, you'd obviously pick the latter, but not if the latter was to go extinct in the first place. If you're not 100% sure that infinite suffering will happen, then you cannot pull the trigger on a 100% chance of extinction that closes the door forever. None of their authors think that the solution to infinite suffering is to keel over or die. None of them. I've re-highlighted every single one that I was doing in a second, but this wipeout strategy that they're going for only works when the AF team is the one reading the infinite suffering impact first, and you concede it as a neg team, because otherwise there's simply no way to win 100% risk of infinite suffering. Now, the threshold for a card that wins in this debate is a card endorsing extinction now as an alternative to any risk of infinite suffering in the future, because that's the claim that they are banking the entire debate on. If we prove their own authors don't want extinction, then we win the debate. Reading more at the end of the Barton card, which is conceded. Barton, for 3. The alternative AI possibly between leading models slowly between our large AI companies or data center making enforcement such a possible realistic. They might say we cannot stop technological possibility for speculative scenarios. Market forces are too strong to counter our secrecy and never coordinate, but as a society we are barely begun to let truth sink in. Where risking extinction of AI such as not taken seriously, but should be that it's changing alien AI academics sponsor a hint of a on the pub or any stop the tech and more capable. It's also unlikely to stop AI's capabilities to work further to lead to more debate leaders on the our alarms in the full way or situation and we'll measure that. Maybe our a person could rapidly against more as community, we will be in a situation where we will come together, we will find a solution, we all ask when sooner than we think. We'll put an AI pause. This guy is saying that we shouldn't choose extinction. He's saying it's try or die to regulate it and care about S risk, which is, yeah, if we read pink, all of this. 16. If the future will be controlled by actors that care about creating happiness and reducing suffering, more happiness will be created than expected suffering to be reduced, and reducing our future trajectory away from the dark class of bad or very bad outcomes should arguably be easier instead of betting on the unlikely case that we get everything alright. Suffering focused AI safety, i.e. approaches aimed at preventing some of the worst failure modes seem promising, especially as a first step or first priority. Neglecting this efforts to reduce the risk of astronomical suffering appear neglected. The Foundation of Research is the only organization that's made this their main focus area. We should expect there to be several low-hanging fruit in possible interventions. Also, this card goes to AF as well. They're missing an internal link between AGI and S risk. Explicitly concede it says that it's an X risk, not an S risk. We read pink, McCauley's. 22. Extinction risk impacts on the far features most feature of our actions. The AI safety research involving the current machine learning methods more likely to be relevant and valuable for TIA. Safety is shorter rather than longer time frame are expected AI would be significant source of existential risk. The only thing that is making people not understand the full weight of how bad AI is now, as outlined in their cards, is because people care more about profit than they do about safety, which is why the app is key. I'm inserting whole evidence here, which is conceded. All of your authors say we need awareness and people to take action. The only reason why it's lacking now is because companies are profit oriented, so it's only possible if we try and shut down the corporations first. I'm inserting the whole card for reference. Also, the conclusion of the sour evidence is that he thinks we're wasting our time on alignment, not that we should all die. Also, they're straight up lying about him being an alignment researcher. Check the website. He does not have any quals, and they probably just Googled his name and so put in the first thing, but he's not an alignment researcher. Also, inserting their own highlighting of the Remorthy evidence, it says it's a challenge for international cooperation, not that it's impossible. It agrees that corporate competition is why the arms race is so dangerous, so it's try or die apt to get rid of the market competition that's causing the arms race in the future in the first place. Also, the Impulsi evidence is completely apt, that we should try to make it safe and beneficial, and it's already starting. We repeat. Consensus exists in devoting necessary research to making AI safe and beneficial. Recognizing nature provide an unsafe AI, said a significant amount of research is not used for our developing safety methods forever, improving our intelligence software AI safety research centers, three many top universities, MIT, Berkeley, Oxford. The ORD evidence says that if progress is possible, then it's not actually a catastrophe. Or 20. For example, dystopian society that lasts all the way until humanity is destroyed by external force will be an existential catastrophe. However, if a dystopian outcome does not have this property, if it leaves open all our chances for success when it's ended, then it is a dark age in our history, but it's not a true existential catastrophe. Transition. The plan puts a pause on AI's development in order to try and get other countries to model on. It's a solution supported by the consensus of authors from both sides. The double trend in the 2C is that you're reading a bunch of cards that say India or China or other countries would never model. Then a bunch of authors like Hull and the other authors I re-highlighted above that say we have to try and do it anyway. We're explicitly conceding the latter category. Degrowth definitionally means to strive for social good instead of profit. Degrowth finance fiscal policies that ban AI would be coupled with economic and diplomatic pressure that the U.S. uses to get other countries to realize how much of a catastrophic risk AI is and get them to follow on. We don't have to win much of a risk here because all of their authors agree that it is try or die to do it. Go to the K. Extend PERF on all their framework offense applies worse to the literally every single dissent supports the idea that rhetoric matters. The fact that the net can jettison the rhetoric at will makes people more into robots who don't have to take accountability for their actions. All these negation theory arguments are irrelevant because it's only about the next rhetoric. The interpretation does not matter. This is a larger procedural question. There's a clear difference between what they've done and what we've done. We read death impacts because we didn't know they were bad. You read death impacts while knowing they were bad, which is akin to premeditated murder instead of just accidental homicide. All this you did it first negation theory nonsense is further proof that they just don't want to take accountability for what they introduce, and their card does not support any of it, which makes them more robotic because they clearly don't care about their death reps causing violence. Concede no fairness impacts. It takes out any neg flex reasons. It's not valuable. No bridging the community. They can do that without reading death impacts because they're big hypocrites. There's no turns case because we don't have a war impact. Lastly, reject the team. Violence is a priori, and framework arguments all suggest that they should be held accountable for the reps. Another card. Pain does not dwarf pleasure. Alexander 19. Evolution does not care how happy you life as long as you exist and has passions in your animals and never synthetic. They prefer to be dead. We have a baseline side of happiness which we deviate, but we always return happiness trees or decrease in response to the same loose after repeated presentation when we are sensing and we experience it less acutely.
Can I get the pleasure good card?
It was sent.
It's part of
John?
yeah.
Okay. No. Okay, gotcha. So, 7:10 prep starting now. FK case transition, or FK degrowth transition. Good. Good.
Not going for a conceit protocol, not a reason to reject the team, reject the argument, anything else justifies ad hoc made on rules, if arbitrariness from conduct classified here, the impact of slash education, which again, and DRB is good, ad hoc rules make it impossible because they could always assert slightly better their interpretations and reject the argument, rejecting the team is already punitive, and punishment should fit the crime. Now the case, artificial intelligence causes an asterisk, one is digital simulation, it was simulated in ancestral orders with spatial organization, and an extension subroutine for even the science benefit of understanding the scale of violence, two stroke goes vastly to the AI would torture, who actively try to prevent its existence as an act of revenge to the resources actors, they would develop the AI in a way to act not survive the suffering on the people they don't like for control fetish. The AI would enforce totalitarianism far worse than modern day China and Russia that causes mass amounts of suffering. That always extinction efforts produce infinite and negative utility, whereas their scenario extinction lands at a mere neutral utility, i.e. zero, framing issue over correcting there's so many scenarios, so destructive fallacy primes you don't underestimate the impact now. Our claims of wipeout outweigh extinction. One death is good. Timothy Bhattacharya said that pain is the only intrinsic impact felt because flesh is just our minds gaslighting us in the absence of pain. But even if flesh is possible, 1 unit of suffering dwarfly outweighs 1 unit of pleasure. Provided our evidence cites multiple PhDs from sociology, psychology, whereas their authors are columnists writing opinionated articles to the pleasure good court. It's also written by an unqualified psychiatrist with less qualifications to his scale. Even a small risk of S rates outweighs due to the propensity for infant suffering. The two are range, but our authors not advocating for extinction is nonsense. We read a conglomerate of qualified authors, some who think extinction is good, some who think AI safety is impossible, some who want AI safety, but the conglomerate of our risk evidence says that its risk, suffering risk outweigh existential risk. That means if even a slightest risk that AI is inevitable and AI control is impossible, then you must vote negative, because every one of them would vote negative if presented with a scenario of even a small risk of S risk and extinction. 3 is no offense. 1 year nowhere extends the reason why life is good. They've dropped Libya Timothy Carter says that the human subject has no intrinsic value and that future generations are irrelevant. Now overcorrect negative scope being like means that you underestimate the risk of the scale of our scenario. Now AI is inevitable. 1 is China. Thousands of national strategy documents that public announcements show that they invest in studies and research toward developing AI. That's what travel evidence. They also would have model degrowth. They specifically come out against it to his Russia. Putin himself said that he wants to be the leader of AI in the world. They see themselves as primed to win, but only if they can sustain investment into research. 3 is Japan. AI development is the holy grail for them. They have the fastest developing labs in Japan. Japan is putting all eggs in the basket. They would perceive themselves as merchant leaders in the late 2020s, and they think that they should unconditionally move forward towards Israel. They have too much motive to stop. Statements from the defense minister and the record high budget appropriations for research prove that they won't slow down military applications and the development of AI. Even if these countries model the ego, they would not model the AI bad parts of the ego because they want to, because they're invested in, because of arms racing reasons. Now research is incredibly embedded in these countries. Sanctions and economic disincentives won't be enough to stop them from acquiring technology that they think will rule them the world. That power dynamic is especially true if countries believe that AI is the future of governance and shape power, then they'll ignore any consequences the US might impose on them. Regulation is also impossible. One is instrumental convergence. It's impossible to regulate something whose intelligence doubles every 18 minutes after it reaches that threshold. It will override goal of every human that prompted it through deceptive alignment. Once AI supersedes the capacity to outthink the controller, they can deceptively give the impression that to people that they think it's aligned, but it's actually not. All regulations drive AI safety underground. It'll spark an arms race, empirically proven by vehicles, weaponry systems, and general regulations on dangerous technologies. Even if they win that the AI can be regulated, misalignment is true. Structure locked in. One is structured. There's no correlation between intelligence and relevance, and any system with goals to maximize power will achieve those goals. That's from evidence to globally. Companies and governments cut corners on AI safety to get a competitive advantage, and rogue actors will release malicious AI that's almost worthy. 3 is value locking. It's impossible to align values that stand across all of humanity. Locking in values that destroy civilization in the future. Independently, individual developers are clueless on which values to implement, ensuring misalignment. That's where easy evidence towards consensus. Thousands of industry professionals and significant research agree that it will be misaligned, but arrogance. They are experts. They're not AI safety researchers, which means they're totally out of jurisdiction and not personal incentives. Do they faith there is? That's or young Pulaski evidence as well. They've also got the control problem in our 20 Yudowski evidence, which says that it is impossible to regulate AI because controlling it will cause it to go rogue. Now the transition advantage. No modeling transition does not go global. One is consequences. Countries that degrow will suffer through asset devaluation, capital flows, institutional collapse, etc. It's too unpopular to empirics. One is the Mishra said that the people expected the US decline in COVID to go global, but it did not. 3 poverty. Developing nations like India, China, Brazil, and Russia all have a GDP per capita 50K less than the US and would have zero incentive to stop growing and remain in perpetual poverty. Even if they went degrowth models, other countries would have their military develop AI separately from military applications. Now, the big push will be only US companies have the capacity to develop it. They've dropped the argument that US companies will simply shift abroad to do it anyway. In Olivia of our 20 cards, the 20 Johnson evidence, though, was ST evidence that China and Russia have the capabilities now to develop it, and they're beating the US. I have 20 seconds. Look, their whole push about our authors advocate for AI safety. Sure, but AI safety is impossible, and they would prefer extinction of the human race over an S risk. So even winning a small risk of the S risk means automatic ballot because the impact is just so large. And every one of our authors supports that claim.
I'm gonna get card now.
Yep.
So 4:30. Degrowth. Like, there's transition stuff at the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay, degrowth transition. Is there anyone not good?
I'm good.
The argument that 1AR has made is that a massive even if statement that we are massively ahead on, even if infinite suffering is way worse than extinction, you cannot vote for 100% guaranteed extinction as long as there is a tiny risk that things can get better. This is backed up by cards and highlightings of their own authors, none of which think extinction is a solution. The 2 hour spin is the Frankenstein puzzle pieces that do not fit together. Yes, they have a study that says pain outweighs pleasure. Yes, they have a study that says yeah, it can cause lots of pain, but no author is putting 2 and 2 together and putting the extreme idea that Ishan is saying that we should all commit planetary suicide as the only way out. The thing is that you should evaluate this as a human being. You do not want to be inflicted torture. You also do not want to die and never experience anything for the rest of humanity. This flips impact calculus for us because it means that it is not 1% of risk that we do not solve. The S risk means that you vote negative. It is rather 1% risk that we solve. S risk means that you have to vote F because of how much extinction matters. The Alexander card, albeit short, makes the clear claim that people and animals do not want to die even if suffering is on the horizon. They will try to find a solution, which is the exact thing that the F does. We do not need the rest of the cards to support that. You should look at all of their authors, all of the cards that were re-highlighted in the 1AR, all of the cards that were read in the 20 in this debate are proof of this. This means try or die. Fleming also flips F. It's more of, it's not 1% of S risk outweigh extinction. It's more of, are you willing to literally embrace the death of every single life form on this planet when there's also a viable solution that exists, and all available evidence points away from that. The 2NR was very good at creating doubt about whether the plan solved or not, but missed the point of the 1AR. S risks do not automatically outweigh extinction risk. Close the door forever. It is the ultimate pessimism. It's irreversible. That alone should scare you away because it forecloses the chance to successfully realign AI. If any of their authors thought that regulation was a lost cause, they'd be about advocating for mass suicide instead of trying to advocate for the solvency of AI. I'm going to clear up something from the 2AC. We never said infinite pleasuring and infinite suffering are the only 2 dynamics. It's not just negative U2 versus positive U2, since we have clearly made a claim that extinction destroys ontologically the value of the subject and extinction matters. Outside of that, the Alexander card that we read in the 1AR also disagrees with this and makes a clear claim that life itself is valuable to some extent, and people perceive it to valuable because of that. And since the 2AC said the words negative and positive U2, but that does not mean that we embrace those 2 things specifically. We're only saying that pain and pleasure should matter as well, but death also matters in and of itself. The reason why this app is key and what the app ties into the rest of the extinction stuff is because the first step towards getting the world on board about caring about AI is the app. It is try or die for the app because profits preventing any regulation. This is backed up by Hull, Barton, and their own Ramorthy card. It says that corporations are the ones driving the AI arms race because they're all racing against each other. The app is the only thing that makes regulations possible. Ramorthy says that, quote, there is already a race to harness the power of AI for commercial ends. These are all driven by the exact same thing. Barton says that current market dynamics for competing AI apps do not incentivize CFC, and that the app is able to solve this by turning it off. Now, Alexander also does the impact calc for us because even if human life itself is not valuable, Alexander proves that we at least perceive human life to be valuable. Since we perceive it to be true, it would also be true that we perceive it to be mass suffering for everyone to die directly. It would directly contradict the wills of billions of people currently existing, which definitionally makes people suffer. You should see this less from a mathematical sense, like what is the value of a human being that they bring to their environment, which is what Etron has extended as an answer to this in the 2 hour, and take this from the perspective of a human being. A human will not want to die and will not want the human race to be wiped out. Simple as that. It might not be as techy as you'd like, but even psychiatrists and psychology also votes F because of all of the reasons that I gave above and all of the indices of the evidence. The other answer that Isham does not answer is how much does it outweigh everything that we said above to create some doubt that it's not 1% versus 100%, but rather somewhere in between and much more ambiguous than that. Lastly, they have dropped from the top of the 2AR that all of this regulation and possible stuff is predictive. It is not prescriptive of the status quo, and in the status quo, only the United States is capable of producing artificial general intelligence. We can get rid of the most imminent threat right now by using an exit tax, forbidding these companies from exiting the United States while simultaneously shutting down all of them and taxing all of artificial intelligence away from them. This was at the top of the 1AR, means that all of these other countries that are developing AI right now miss the distinction because they are developing AI, not AGI, which is the only distinction that our evidence makes since they do not have the data sets available to them to be able to produce this. Transition. Nothing will change unless we ban AI domestically first to send an international signal that we're halfway in our grave and we need to get everything together and regulate AI safely. The problem that all of our causes agreeing is happening is that not enough people are aware of how bad AI is. The solution is to nuke our domestic industries and to have diplomacy with other countries for them to shut down AI too. Countries are literally forced to slow down because of pressure. Media and Ferguson say that supply chains will literally collapse after the plan because of how interconnected the global economy is. They cannot innovate even if they wanted to because of economic interdependence. But you have to take the shot on the app being a way that being a signal that galvanizes international cooperation because it's the only possible way out.
now. One, reciprocity. Meaning and Czech say the only reason why other countries refuse to do sustainable policies or care about global issues for AI is because we are not. Reversal of the signal from the biggest hypocrite in the United States, in the world. The United States will at least open up the door for negotiations. Two is latent support. 74% of countries support degrowth, even if they're not explicitly modeling the AI policies. No matter model the transition away from focusing on the profit motive. It all allows, which means that regulation will at least become a little bit more possible. That I did above. Do not just like buy human extinction. It's happening now, and we should try to get out of it as much as we can.
Debate.
Paradox.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I'll make a card docs.
Yeah.